Hey guys, Maniac here with GameAccess.net, doing a major video here. We're going to be doing a top 10 like we usually do, except we're doing something a little bit unusual this time. I'm going to be counting down the top 10 video game commercials, at least I think, of all time. Now, I want to give a few rules first to this top 10. In particular, I want to say what will be allowed and what will not be allowed on this on this video, and what is the grounds for disqualification. In particular, I am only counting game-specific commercials, which is meaning no promo bumpers for the platforms and no commercials that handle more than one commercial. It has to be a flat commercial for one particular game. It can also have a little bit of a tie-in with the console itself, but no console promos, only game commercials. The second is that it has to have at least aired on television. I am not counting any trailers or anything along those lines, no matter how good that they are, if they never aired on television. How are these going to be scored? The way they're going to be scored is basically going to be the quality of the commercial. There could be humor responsible, it could be how well it was made, how well it was directed, that sort of thing. But also the fact of the nostalgic take. So you basically got the twofold. And that's how I scored all of these. And trust me, let me tell you something. I got, which I'm not going to show you guys, but I've got reams of paper right here that I've been working on. Not just trying to show you guys, to come up with a list, but just to order this list properly. And let me tell you something. I mean, there were casualties to the list. I had some move up, I had some move down. I thought one would be scored much higher, and then when I saw it again, I said, no, this one moves down further on the list. But I think I have what I consider to be the definitive list. Now, obviously, you guys may disagree with this list, and you're welcome to post a comment about that, about something you think I missed. But trust me, I probably took what you guys are going to comment about into consideration before I came up with the list. And for whatever reason, it just couldn't make the list, and I'm sorry about that. But we're going to start right now. And what we're going to start right now with the number 10 is actually going to be the number 11. Okay, the number 11. The thing about this is going to be funny because I'm going to be titling this the top 10, and I'm actually starting with the number 11. But let me tell you something. This was actually going to be the number 10 until another one was brought in at the last minute, and it reordered the list. And this got bumped off. I still think it's a really good commercial. I don't think it's better than any of the other commercials that were shown, but I still think this was a good commercial worth mentioning. It showed a very familiar character in a whole new light, and I thought that was great. It was well made, it was well directed, and it set the tone for the fact of this was a familiar character in a whole new game, and that was why I liked it a lot. And you know what? It didn't make the top 10 list, but I still think it deserves an honorable mention. So here it is for you guys.
My past is not a memory. It's a force at my back. It pushes and steers. I may not always like where it leads me. But like any story, the past needs resolution. What's past is prologue. Rated T for teen.
And now, well, we're finally up to number 10. And what is this number 10? Number 10 was a commercial that was more recent, and it actually made the number 10 spot kind of after I'd already come up with the list. This was the number 10 that actually bumped the number 11 up to number 11. Number 11 was originally number 10, then I remembered, okay, this one. And it's a very, very well-made emotional commercial in basically a whole slew of commercials that were very similar done by this company. And I have to give it total props. I'm going to be including the extended version of the commercial. Just so you guys know, the commercial they usually showed for this was about 30 seconds long. The version I'm going to be showing you guys was a minute in length. I really appreciated seeing the whole commercial. I thought it was great in that way. Really, for over a short of 30 seconds, it told an incomplete story, had fantastic production values, and showed reality to a fact of, well, we had seen these type of characters before in previous games, but we didn't quite understand what they had to have gone through. They were usually just cannon fodder in previous games, and here they were being stepped up. So here you are, the number 10.
Rated M for mature.
Xbox 360 Elite, now $100 off.
And now we're up to the number 9. And the best way I can put up with this number 9 is it's an older commercial, but what I think they were trying to go for was to kind of show what was hell. And the reason why is because, are they trying to show, is hell what's in this game? Or is hell your average day-to-day life? And that made for a very interesting commercial. It was interesting visually. It used the rockin' soundtrack from the game. It really got its notoriety. And the fact that they held off on using this commercial until they ended up getting a new version of the game out was a pretty good push to the marketing blitz for the game. They decided to hold off until they had the game on multiple platforms. And I understood that. It's a great commercial, definitely worth watching, and that's why it's number 9.
You're not gonna live.
It will be painful. You're doomed.
Doom 3, rated M for mature. Now on Xbox.
And now we're up to number 8. And what I want to talk about with number 8 is that this commercial was actually originally, when I came up with an initial list, ranked much higher in the overall listing. It wasn't until I watched it again it just wasn't the commercial that I had remembered. Like, there was a shot or two in the commercial I thought I had remembered, but it wasn't in that commercial. It still was really funny. And I think that's why I liked it so much. It's a great commercial. It's really funny. Again, it's a very familiar character shown in a new type of light with whole new types of gameplay. And I thought the ending was hilarious. I really did. It fit perfectly with the commercial, I thought. So that's why we have that for number 8.
Help! Help!
Mario's back in a new adventure! He has new friends with special abilities! He has new enemies with funky attacks! But will he save the princess?
Help!
Find out in Paper Mario! Rated E for everyone.
Okay, and we're up to number 7. Now, number 7 is one of the commercials that I'm going to have on the list that basically was of one game, but there were plenty of different commercials for this game. In fact, there were plenty of different commercials all across the ad blitz for this game. Why did I choose this one? Well, the reason why I chose this one was because this was the first type of game that did this, and it opened up a whole new type of marketing. And I kind of had to give it props for that, at least being the first to do this. The way that they decided to do this was that they actually put it up the same way that sometimes movies would put this up, in that they have they do a whole marketing blitz around the fact that they're going to air this commercial or this teaser or something like that on television. But they always, and like the whole advertising is, we're not going to show it on the internet, we're not going to show it to you right now, we're going to have to make you watch whatever it is that we're going to make you watch, and then you're going to have to watch the commercial on it. Obviously movies had done this before, but video games really hadn't, at least not for this type of time slot. And trust me, it's been done a lot. In fact, they redid this recently. And what they chose to do was, they chose to actually show this during, I think it was a basketball game for some odd reason. And when you want to think about games and stuff like that, or action games, you think basketball. No, I don't think, I just kind of thought, well, this would be more likely that the gamers would watch the basketball game for some reason and watch the commercial, as opposed to the basketball players be interested in the commercial at all, or even understand what the commercial was. That having been said, the reason why they actually put something behind this, they actually put some weight behind this, in the fact that they had it say that you have to see this commercial in order to get first crack at the beta that they were doing, and everyone was really looking forward to that beta. And I got in. So it's interesting, it's close to my heart, and that's why it's number 7.
You ever wonder what's up there? Like what? Maybe someone up there was wondering what it's like here. I guess. Do you think we'll ever meet them? I hope so. Don't you? Do you think we'll ever meet them?
Chief,
Is anybody out there? Hurry! Call back now! Any sign of the chief? Negative, sir. I think we lost him.
Not yet.
Product not yet rated.
Okay, and we're up to number 6. And I think the reason why they chose this number 6 was because they were so interested in getting this character that we hadn't seen in a long time, not just come back, but also come back and be able to be seen in a whole new light. They were taking something that was familiar to everybody, but it hadn't been seen in a while, and they were putting their own new spin on it. So they went all out. And I've not really seen production value like this in games, in commercials or trailers in quite a while. They did a great job with it. And I've in fact seen that a lot of people have taken clips of this or the clip itself and used it to kind of make fake trailers and make to show that maybe a movie of this is coming and that this is the evidence of it. It was literally that well made. Now obviously a movie is not coming at least not as far as we know of this. But this was the trailer for this game, and this did end up on television, and it was fantastic. So that's why it's number 6.
The cold silence of space only punctuates the feeling of death that emanates from this virtually lifeless planet. Only one thing is alive and well here. Evil. And it must be destroyed, decimated, exterminated. But first, it must be found.
Okay, and now we're up to number 5, and this was probably considered to be some people are going to consider this to be much higher on their list. I'm going to totally recommend this. It wasn't higher on my list because I think that the ones that are above were better, but I have to say that this probably started a whole new wave of just new types of commercials and stuff like that. They really went all out when they made this. In fact, actually, just to show the impact that this commercial had, the song that they used in the commercial got a whole new, wave of interest in it. It got heavily downloaded on iTunes. A lot of people were listening to it. And the song had been out for a while. They chose to use it. Everyone really liked it. Also, for the factor, when it came to the point where novelizations were starting to be made for this game and the game series, the person that they wanted to get to write the books for the eventual book series wasn't familiar with the property, and their first exposure to it, not having been aware of the property, was this commercial. When they saw the commercial for this game that we all saw, and I'm going to show you in just a second, they had to write this series. That just shows you how powerful that this commercial was. It was really emotional, really well made, and it probably was a benchmark for commercials to follow. So that is why it's number 5.
Worn out faces, hide my head, I wanna drown my sorrow. No tomorrow, no tomorrow. And I find it kinda funny, I find it kinda sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world.
Okay, number 4, we're going to go back to the past on this one. This was a bit of an older commercial. Probably this was, if not the first video game related commercial that I was familiar with. It's probably the earliest commercial I can think of on the list. It might have been, it might not have been. But I think it's the earliest that I saw. And not only did it succeed in showing the game itself and making awareness of the game out there, it also did a good job of making awareness of the platform that the game was appearing on. I know you could watch this commercial and probably think, oh, this was done, it was the 90s or something like that, but really, this was one of those commercials that started off this kind of trend, where it kind of showed where, we're new, we're different, we're hip, and I know that, again, that's been overused, especially towards the end of the 90s and the early 2000s and everything else. But this was done before that became overused. So I think it's still a valid commercial. It showed a whole new character in a really interesting light. It was really well made. It was funny. And that's why it's number 4.
Danita Stokes, president of HAG.
It's bad enough that Sega Genesis has the most 16-bit games, but this new Sonic the Hedgehog, oh, he really does my doilies. They say he's incredibly fast. Well, what's the hurry, mister? And about his attitude. Smarty pants. Why can't it be more like that nice boy Mario? Oh! Little brat!
Now, get Sonic free when you buy a Sega Genesis system at its new price of $149.99.
Okay, and we're up to number 3. Now, number 3 is probably one of my favorite commercials of all time, as I can say probably for the other two above it. It's certainly up there. He took a property that had been going for a while, not really known in the United States too well, and they did a commercial that really had absolutely nothing to do whatsoever with the game, but it felt perfectly along the lines of what was going on with, like, the people being aware of the military-industrial complex, and also people being aware of how action movies were being done. It was a parody commercial, and it was a funny parody commercial to make people aware of a property that had and just the fact of that. I think it had people talking about it for quite a while. It was certainly the first thing I was thinking about when people were telling me, no, you have to play this game. And I had to say, you mean that game with that commercial? And they're like, yeah, that game. It's good. It's really good. And I'm sure that when everybody sees it, they're going to say, oh yeah, that's probably considered to be one of the best games of all time, certainly on the platform that it came on. But this was, I think, a lot of people's first exposure to that game. And in some cases, it was certainly my first exposure to that property. So take for it what you will. It was funny, it was well made, and that's why it's number 3.
It's an extremely sensitive covert operation. You'll be one man against an entire squad of high-tech special ops. If you want to survive, you gotta have brains. You have to be in peak physical condition. The fate of the free world is in your hands, soldier. Failure is not an option.
Sir, aren't these tests kind of easy?
Suicide mission.
Metal Gear Solid.
Okay, now we're up to number 2. And I think that some people are going to say that they're not surprised whatsoever that this has made the list. In fact, some people might be surprised it wasn't the number 1. And let me tell you something, it probably could have been the number 1, but the number 1 was just so high up there for me. And trust me, when you see the number 1, you'll probably think the same thing yourselves. Let me tell you something. When I saw this commercial, the jingle for it was absolutely perfect. I mean, granted, that's still used in commercials, but they really had a good song for it. When you watch this commercial, the production values were absolutely astonishing. You'd think that they were made on $1 million sets or something like that. The jingle was great. The direction was fantastic. It was really cool looking. The game sucked. Everyone probably admits this. It got a lot of play on television, or the commercial did. And let me tell you something, this was really close to being number 1. But, you know what? You'll have to see it for yourself and make your own decision. Check it out.
He can run, there's no escape. He can hide, that's his fate. He can fight with all his might and never win. When good battles evil, the real game begins.
Okay guys, we're up to number 1 now. And I really don't think I should have to set this up. I think this is probably one of the most popular commercials that were ever shown on television that are online. I've seen a lot of people with online and a lot of notes on online about this commercial. I think it speaks for itself. I don't have to set it up really. It's number 1. Take a look.
Me and you and me, no matter how they toss the dice, it had to be the only one for me is you.
Something's gone wrong in the happy-go-lucky world of Nintendo. Introducing Super Smash Bros., where all your favorite characters go toe-to-toe in one 4-player star-studded slam fest, only on Nintendo 64.
Thanks for watching, guys. if you want to post a comment about what you think that would have made the list, feel free to post a comment below. I'm more than happy to read them, but I can probably tell you this right now. I took everything that I was aware of into consideration. If you say, oh, this was better or this was better, by all means, I probably did think about it. But I just want you guys to feel free to post your own comments about it. And I hope you guys enjoyed the list. Take care until next time. This is Maniac, over and out.